Alright, so today we're going to look at naming covalent compounds. The good news is these are significantly easier than naming ionic compounds. There are much fewer rules, but they can get confusing when you have a big list and they're all mixed up. So remember, ionic compounds resulted from the donation of electrons. So each species had a formal charge and the charges canceled out. But covalent compounds result from the sharing of electrons. Okay, so electrons aren't formally transferred, so we don't really have charges in covalent compounds. Okay, so a couple of steps for naming covalent compounds. The first step is to identify the compound as covalent. Okay, so I need to recognize it's either between two nonmetals or a nonmetal and a metalloid. Okay, so there are no metals in these compounds. Excuse me. The second step is to assign the prefix, okay, that corresponds to each of the atoms based on the number they have. So let's go ahead and list out the prefixes. So 1 is mono, 2 is di, 3 is tri, 4 is tetra, 5 is penta, 6 is hexa, so on and so forth. You can get the picture from here. You know your shapes. 7 is a little bit different. 7, we hept or sept is acceptable, but we don't use 7 a whole lot, so they won't come up very often. So the third step is to change the ending of the second atom to IDE. Okay? Then the last step is to be sure that you never use mono on the first element. Okay? So those are typed out in your notes. So let's go through and look at a few of these. These should not be difficult at all for you. So we have SiO2, H2O, CO2, H2S. Okay? So let's look at all these to begin with. Do we have any metals here? No, so we're good. So all these are covalent compounds, so we use these rules. So now I just need to assign the correct prefixes. How many silicon atoms are there? There's only one, so I'm tempted to use mono. But remember the rule, you never use mono on the first element, so I just write silicon. Okay? So silicon, then oxygen is the next one, so I change the ending on oxygen to IDE, so silicon dioxide. Okay? So notice this is silicon, not silicone. Okay, silicone is a polymer of silicon and oxygen. So if you think about places where you use silicone, okay, that is actually the polymer, whereas silicon is the single element. So the final name is silicon dioxide. So this one's obviously water, but let's go ahead and write the formal name for this. So there are 2 hydrogens. The prefix is di, so dihydrogen. There's only 1 oxygen. I didn't use the prefix mono earlier, but that was because it was on the first element. So we use mono on the second element, so dihydrogen monoxide. Okay, and we dropped the double O there. It's not monoxide, it's just monoxide. Okay, so CO2, the first element is carbon. Okay, remember I don't use mono on the first atom. Okay, I'll leave it off. So carbon, there are 2 oxygens, so dioxide. Okay. Then I'll drop back down here. There are 2 hydrogens, dihydrogen, monosulfide. Okay, so dihydrogen monosulfide. There are abbreviations to this. You'll see that called dihydrogen sulfide or hydrogen sulfide quite often, but that is the actual true formal name for it.